He's walking blind to a pool, mud's on his eyes, right? Like it's just a scene.
Another week, another episode of The Word Made Fresh. And look who's in the pulpit this Sunday, the one and only Reverend Derrick T. Jordan. Derrick, my first question, which maybe it's other people's first question, what does the T stand for?
The T, that's a great question. There's some people at Riverside who know this and they call me by my middle name,
Uh-oh. Are we not going to
Tiberius.
say for that reason? Is it a secret?
It's Tiberius.
Tiberius. Oh, I like that.
Tiberius. Yes,
Like
it was
James
my
Tiberius Kirk.
like James Tiberius Kirk. It was also my great grandfather's name and his grandfather's name.
Hmm.
So it's like I have a family history with Tiberius, and I have friends
Ooh.
all across the country. Some groups of folks I know, like some people that I can gauge how long they've known me based on like if they call me Tiberius. Because I have people from like my when I was in my 20s, they used to call me Tiberius. So, and then there's some folks at Riverside who call me Tiberius, and I think that's very sweet. Um, but that's what the T stands for.
There it is. Reverend Derrick Tiberius Jordan. All right. You are in the pulpit this Sunday. There's a lot always happening in the world, in the air on a Sunday. This Sunday has a particular centering of Black History Month. So there's a lot going on in the music. And I think you're bringing some of that in the preaching. And there's a poet in the house. But before we get into that, we see you often leading the liturgy at Riverside. Who are you and what's your connection with Riverside? Give people who are like, who is this Derrick Tiberius Jordan character?
Yes.
How would you kind of introduce yourself in the elevator if someone's like, I recognize you, young man? What would you say?
Yeah, no. I am on the ministerial staff at Riverside. I've been a member of Riverside for 11 years now. I came to Riverside in 2015. Wow, that's a long time ago. Um,
No.
when I was in seminary right across the street at Union Theological Seminary, working on my Master of Divinity. And I was like, what is this church over here that I keep hearing about? Let me go check it out. And I came to Riverside, did my internship here with education and pastoral care, and fell in love with the church and the community. I mean, we know the church is not the church, right? The physical building, it's the people. And the people at Riverside really just captivated my heart. There's so much warmth and authenticity and care that's in this congregation. And so I'm still here. I love Riverside. I love the people.
And when you're not at Riverside, what is it that keeps you busy in the world? I know you in social work circles. Is that still an accurate hat to put on you? Or I know you contain multitudes, but yeah.
Yeah. I do wear a few different hats. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I am a psychotherapist. So I did my trained in family and couples therapy, and I have my own private practice that I run, and I also do mental health and organizational consulting work. So I also have a separate business, an LLC, which is my consulting business. So those are the many hats that I take on and off. I tend to find that my clinical hat stays on most of the time. I mean, it even stays on when I'm preparing for a sermon, when
I'm
I'm
sure.
reading the text. I feel like I read it differently because I'm asking tons of questions that most people may not ask, and I usually don't get the answers to. But yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, that to me is what makes you a phenomenal minister. And
Mhm.
we've all experienced that in just the ways you show up, whether you're in the room or online leading the liturgy. And we are definitely going to experience it this Sunday when you will be in the room standing in that pulpit. Is this the first Sunday morning sermon? I didn't check the full records. There's been others. Where does this lie in the Derrick Jordan sermon
Yes.
discography?
I think the last sermon I preached was in the pulpit was July, the first Sunday in July. That was the last.
So we're long overdue. Welcome back. Good to
Thank
have
you.
you in the space again.
Thank
So
you.
we're in John chapter 9. We skipped
Yes.
a bit of John. So those of you who are following the narrative narratively, there's a bit of an omission. Maybe we'll talk about some of that in Bible study on Sunday. But what's going on in John 9? It's the whole chapter, I think. So you got a
It
lot to
is.
kind of look
It is.
at and pull from. Anything you can tell us about the chapter and then maybe how you're holding it for Sunday?
Yeah. So I love this chapter. So, okay, this is me geeking out a little bit because I just love interrogating the scripture and like sharing the word. So John 9 comes on the heels of Jesus performing all of these signs and all these miracles. And I'll actually talk a little bit about that in open Bible study and when I preach on Sunday. Just kind of the meaning behind that. But I look at John, if you see John 9, the title is the man who was blind, and now Jesus gives him sight, right? And that's kind of what the headline, and most people know the scripture by. But I kind of see there's so much under the surface, right? There's so much more meaning in the text, and I think about like the iceberg analogy, which was popularized by Sigmund Freud, like right, like our conscious awareness is like very little compared to like the unconscious stuff that's underneath. That's how John 9 is, right? We've got this opening section of Jesus healing the man. It's like one-fourth of the text. And then like the rest of it is this like dialogue and back and forth and all of this stuff with these people, with the Pharisees, with the crowd who was there, with his parents even. So it's a really amazing scripture that focuses like less on giving physical sight, but there's also like perception,
Yeah.
assumptions, right? What assumptions do we make about people and situations and circumstances? How do we perceive them? It's a message of faith. It's a message of courage, right? And I'm going to talk about this. Like, it took courage for this man. I mean, first of all, Jesus sends him to this pool to be healed, and he's blind. He's walking blind to a pool, mud's on his eyes, right? Like it's just a scene. And it took
Yeah.
so much courage, and for him to even go through the questioning and the ridicule and the doubt and people hating on him and all these different things. And so, really, I hope that people like leave the service. I hope that people after this time, the title of the sermon is "Faith Changes How We See Things," right?
Mm.
Or faith changes how we see. I think I don't have the things on the end of it. So I want folks to walk away from our time together thinking like, how do I see myself, right?
Mm.
How do I see circumstances? How do I see the world around me um, with the eyes of faith, right?
Yeah.
What purpose does faith have in this?
Ooh, there's so much
Yeah,
there. Yeah, because it's easy to just think the miracle is one person's rods and cones getting adjusted inside his physical biology. But
right,
like you said, that's just the opening act of this whole
right,
story. And really, there's a lot of other perception and different kinds of sight that are being, experienced and you could say healed in some ways, or the prescriptions being adjusted more than just on your physical eyes, but on the
right,
perception of so much, so much. And that's what I think really lets us all have a handle on it too, of like, all right, it'd be great if someone could fix my prescription,
right,
blink and I can have perfect 2020. But like, actually, the thing that we might all need to have adjusted is that broader perception and what we are noticing and how we're seeing it and the presuppositions that sometimes get in the way of those things as well.
right,
Ooh,
right, right,
it's
right.
going to be good. That's going to be
It's
good.
heavy. It's a lot. There's a lot here. There's a lot. Yeah.
How are you holding this and all of February's Black History Month? This is a one Sunday that's there's going to be a little more Black history in the water at Riverside and the worship service. uh, I mean, aside from just your being as a Black man embodying yourself, is there anything else that you're holding just with that reality of society, and then this coming Sunday, whether it's within the sermon or other elements of the service itself?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think just to take a step back and see what's happening around us is certainly a great reference point. Um, just to see how, not just elements of our democracy that are constantly under attack and being threatened, but the impact that it's having on communities of color, for people who look like me, for people who speak different languages. Um, fear is another element that's in this passage, right? And it shows up in a very profound way. And there's so many people that are fearful, literally to the point where we would call it, clinically significant. And anything, something in the clinical world, anything that really is so powerful or strong that it hinders or impacts our quality of life in a negative way. People are experiencing so much of this right now. People are experiencing hurt. There's so much unknown. And so I think this is a timely passage because it shows a man who could not see what was his world even like, right? There was so much uncertainty, so much unknown, literally, he could not see. And what is it like to lean on God? What is it like to draw, use our faith and draw from God to be able to see things differently, to have more hope, to experience joy when things seem joyless, right? To really use faith as something that girds us up and gives us power. Um, and I think this is something that communities of color, and I'm just going to specifically Black folks, because that's the context in which I come from, African Americans have had to sojourn and journey through so much hardship. And faith has been the core element through that struggle. From the moment we were put on ships and brought over to this country and were slaves, faith has always been a grounding central point for our lives and a source of resilience for us. And we're seeing that manifest today. We're seeing the need for to be reminded of that because it can be so easy to be distracted. We are in a world where we're overly stimulated. We have things going off, alarms going off. We're trying to do 10 things at once, and we may not be wired to do that, right? Mindfulness teaches us to really slow down and focus on one thing with intention and purpose. And so, if we were to slow down and just read this text and read the scriptures and think about faith and how faith allows us to see things differently, it slows us down. It reminds us of our past and it reminds us of it sustains us in our present and it gives us hope for our future.
Ooh. That's a message we need, 12 months of the year, but I think there'll be a resonance this month that we're all having a different kind of uh, eyesight to maybe pick up on. So I think that will be one that will resonate so deeply and necessarily. Oh, Derrick, this is going to be great. I mean, it always is. Anytime I see your name on the lineup to help lead any part of the service, I'm like, ooh, that's going to be a moment that I just want to sit and have that intentionality to be present. But I think getting to hear 20 or so minutes of you giving us the whole moment is going to be a really meaningful moment. And for people who want more than just the sermon, well, we got it, because this Sunday Derrick's leading open Bible study on site, so 9:30 a.m. in, I think, MLK 316. You should show up there if you want to spend some time and talk more with Derrick. Obviously, we're all going to go to church, hear the sermon, whether you're online or on site. And then for those of us online, Derrick will stick around for virtual coffee hour, and we will get to talk with the Reverend Derrick T. Jordan even more about the sermon and all the ways it continues to reverberate in our lives and our world. I know you got days away. What's the kind of between here and Sunday? What are you working on to kind of get the sermon final prep? Any sort of like, this is how Derrick writes sermons rhythm going on?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm reading it. I am allowing it to kind of be a part of me. Um, I don't like to just like read a sermon or just I like it to be I like it to flow. I want to be connected to what I'm actually saying, right? So that when I am able to share it, like the words kind of lift from the page and just like comes out of me. A lot of prayer, like God, I don't want people to see me. It's not Derrick on the pulpit. I want them to hear your words, and I want them to be shaped and formed in a way that can be received. And so that's my biggest preparation, not so much the content. It's not so much of, I may make a couple of edits here or there, but it's more so, God, who do you want me to reach and how do you want me to reach them? Change the tone of my voice in a way that's needed for that Sunday at that time for these
Yeah.
people, because that's what's important. Just like hiding myself behind the veil and God, you get all the glory.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with me. I want you to get it, and I hope that people
Yeah.
are nourished um, from that experience on Sunday.
I think we will be, and there's only one way to find out. Join us at Riverside this Sunday. Worship starts at around 11 a.m. on site, online. Head over to trcnyc.org for all the info on open Bible study, Sunday morning worship, virtual coffee hour, and a whole lot more. So we look forward to seeing you Sunday. And Derrick, I'm looking forward to this sermon along with everyone else. I'll see you then.